I want to begin this morning by acknowledging the victims, the survivors, and all the family members impacted by the shootings in Lewiston on October 25th, 2023, who are either here today or hopefully watching this on live stream. I would also point out that the report that we just handed out is online now, so it's available generally. None of us can begin to imagine the pain that you people have experienced on that terrible day, nor the hurt with which you continue to live. Despite, or maybe because of, that agony and grief, many of you chose to share your very personal stories with the Commission right here in this room for some, either privately or publicly. We remain impressed by your courage and your resilience, and we thank you for your determination to help this Commission fulfill the mission that the Governor and the Attorney General laid out for us last fall. At our core, this purpose of this Commission was to determine the facts of what happened in Lewiston on October 25th and in the months that led up to it, and the law enforcement response following the shootings. The Commission was asked to conduct its work in public to the greatest extent possible and to issue a formal public report detailing the findings upon the conclusion of their investigation. And that's what we're here to do today. We delivered the report. The Commission was not charged with making policy recommendations regarding access to firearms, to suggest amendments to Maine statutes, or to propose operational changes for government agencies. Those responsibilities properly rest with elected and appointed officials. The Commission's responsibility was to find the facts so that law enforcement, military leaders, the public, and elected and appointed officials can make informed decisions to reduce the risk of such tragedies in the future. The Commission held 16 public hearings, several private meetings, and thoroughly reviewed a great quantity of documents, records, emails, and other information in producing this report. Though we have no authority to sanction or discipline anyone who failed to live up to their duty, we do expect that the facts that the Commission lays out in this report will guide the decisions of those I just mentioned. The Commission also anticipates that many of the facts that we have uncovered may likely serve as the basis for civil litigation. Those matters are to be determined by the court, not by the Commission. On the evening of October 25th, 2023, Robert Card entered Just-in-Time Recreation Facility in Lewiston, killed 8 people, and wounded 3 others. He then drove a few miles away to Smenji's Bar and Grill, where he killed 10 more people and wounded 10 others. 18 people would die. 13 people would be wounded. Others suffered physical and psychological injuries. The emotional wounds go much deeper. Indeed, within minutes, the safety and security that we all feel as Mainers was shattered. Robert Card is totally responsible for his own conduct, solely responsible. He caused the deaths and injuries inflicted that night. We will never know if he might still have committed a mass shooting, even if someone had managed to remove his firearms before October 25th. But the Commission unanimously finds that there were several opportunities that, if taken, might have changed the course of these tragic events. First, the Commission affirms what it laid out in its interim report issued last March. The Saginaw County Sheriff's Office had sufficient probable cause to take Card into protective custody under Maine's yellow flag law and to initiate a petition to confiscate any firearms he possessed or over which he had control. The Sheriff's Office is justified in pointing out that the Army Reserve did not share all the relevant information it had about Card's behavior. Nevertheless, under the circumstances existing and known to the Saginaw County Sheriff's Office, in September 2023, Maine's yellow flag law authorized it to start the process of obtaining a court order to remove Card's firearms. Second, the Commission finds that the leaders of his Army Reserve unit failed to exercise their authority over him and to undertake necessary steps to reduce the threat he posed to the public. Card's commanding officer knew of his auditory hallucinations, increasingly aggressive behavior, collection of guns, ominous comments about his intentions. Despite their knowledge, they ignored the strong recommendation of Card's mental health providers to stay engaged with his care and take steps to remove weapons from his home. The Army Reserve neglected to share all the information relating to Card's threatening behavior with the Sheriff's Office and discounted some of the evidence about the threat he posed. Had members of Card's Army Reserve unit presented a full and complete accounting of the facts, the Sheriff's Office might have acted more assertively in September. Finally, the challenges faced by law enforcement in responding to the shootings were unprecedented in Maine. While many demonstrated bravery and professionalism in the face of danger, the first hours after the shootings were at times utter chaos as hundreds of law enforcement officers poured into Lewiston and were dispatched or self-dispatched to numerous scenes throughout the area. This report makes some findings about the actions of law enforcement following the shooting, and we recommend that the Maine State Police conduct a full after-action review with an independent evaluation by an entity with policing expertise. A full after-action review will allow for professional recommendations about policy, protocol, and other policing improvements. Each member of this commission remains humbled by the charge that was placed before us. All of us, and surely everyone here, wishes we could go back and change what happened in the months, weeks, and days and minutes leading up to the tragedy on October 25th. We can't. However, we can look forward. Our investigation and the information and findings set out in this final report are meant to bring truth to the victims' families, to those who were injured, and to the people of our state. We hope this truth will help the healing process while simultaneously enabling the public and policymakers to learn from mistakes.